How we doing, guys? Welcome to DT's Daily. We are back for another week and I hope every single one of you have had a really good weekend. Now, on today's show, we're going to have a look back over the results and the action from the Premier League. And I'll tell you something, there's a lot to talk about. And the last piece of news involves a target of Arsenal, a very well-known target. And now Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang has give his opinion on what he feels about the potential signing.
I represent my fucking self.
How we doing, guys? Welcome to DT's Daily. That's right.
So the first place we're going to start is the Premier League games over the course of the weekend. Lots of goals, lots of talking points, VAR. My word, some of these decisions, and I'll tell you something, if Arsenal were on the end of a couple of them, I would be absolutely fuming. So, let's get started off. Burnley against Southampton, and this one was quite a simple affair, shall we say. Danny Ings scoring the goal within the first 5 minutes, and it was a 1-0 win, and that's a good victory for Southampton. Crystal Palace against Everton. 2-1 win for Everton. And I'll tell you something, Everton have made a fantastic start to the Premier League season. Calvert-Lewin scores again. Richarlison as well. And it was enough to get the 3 points. Now, the first of a game where there was so much talking points. Brighton against Manchester United. And Manchester United won this game 3-2. Now, Manchester United, how many more penalties does this team want to get? The season's only just restarted. It's like they've just, taken VAR back on loan for the season again. It's just absolutely insane. And when you look at the way the game panned out and the way that it progressed, Brighton will feel so hard done by with this result, because they were the better team and they should have won the game. They hit the woodwork a couple of times. Mopai scores, and then he does his little celebration where he's winding people up, and that will come back and bite him a little bit later on. We get to the very end, 95th minute, and Brighton score. And you think, okay, they've got their equaliser, fully deserved. Minimum getting a draw out of this is what they deserve. But then the 100th minute, the referee blows for full time. And there was an incident a few seconds or so before the full time whistle had blown, which involved a potential handball by Mopai. And even though the game had finished and the whistle had been blown, the referee went to go and check VAR. He checked VAR, deemed it handball, and allowed Manchester United to take a penalty in the 100th minute whilst he had already blown his whistle to end the game. Penande, sorry, that's not his real name, is it? Yeah, he scored again. From the spot, and Manchester United went and won the game 3-2. Now, a lot of Manchester United fans are not actually happy with that result. They're not looking at it and thinking, yeah, we got 3 points. They're looking at it and thinking, what a shambles. They were absolutely dreadful. Honestly, they were shocking. Their defence was an absolute mess. Talking about Jadon Sancho, you need to go and buy defenders. That was awful. Now, the next game, West Brom against Chelsea, and the game finished 3-3, but West Brom were winning 3-0. Robinson with a couple of goals, Bartley as well, former Arsenal player, and at half time you're thinking, wow, unbelievable. And I kept telling you Chelsea fans about Frank Lampard, didn't I? Sorry, don't rate him. And Chelsea, they had their revival. They managed to get 3 goals back. But don't let that paper over the very obvious cracks. Thiago Silva was absolutely dreadful. The mistake that he made as well for West Brom's second goal. It was as though Chelsea had signed, Alex from Glastonbury, not Thiago Silva. That was the version they got. And they might have rescued it should it have been handball right at the end as well before Abraham scored. It's one of those, whichever way you look at it, but another contentious decision again, especially when you go into Sunday and you see some of the handballs and what I'm going to get onto in a moment. Sheffield United against Leeds. And Leeds won this one very late. Bamford scores, a couple of minutes to go. Sheffield United, another defeat for them. What did I say in a show on AFTV a few weeks ago when I was asked to give my relegation candidates? And I turned around and said Sheffield United. I said that they'd lost their best player in Henderson, who's gone back to Manchester United. And I felt that they could well suffer from the second season syndrome in the Premier League. And so far, they're struggling big time. Next game. Now, this is where there was controversy. Tottenham against Newcastle, and it finished 1-1. First and foremost, Tottenham should have won this game by an absolute mile. It should have been at least 3-0 by half-time. They absolutely battered Newcastle. And then in the 95th minute, an incident where Callum Wilson, I believe it was, has headed the ball, and Eric Dyer, who's also challenging for the ball, has just missed it. Whilst he's in the air and, Callum Wilson's behind him, that header from Wilson, whilst only a yard away, has hit the back of the arm of Eric Dyer. Now, Eric Dyer couldn't do anything. He's jumping for the ball. He's not seen the ball. He doesn't know where it is. It's completely accidental. VAR's got involved. Ref's gone over, taken a look, and he's given the penalty. I don't like Tottenham, but even I've got to admit that was ludicrous. How on earth is that a penalty? Really? The game's gone if you're giving penalties for that. My word, I've never seen a decision so shambolic. But it was against Tottenham, so I've got to laugh a little bit, haven't I? But Callum Wilson stepped up, took the penalty, scored. Newcastle get out of there with a point. Don't know how. Jose Mourinho's fuming, and on this occasion, rightly so. Next game, Manchester City against Leicester. Wow. Leicester winning at the Etihad 5-2. Riyad Mahrez scores against his former club within the opening 4 minutes. What a strike as well with his weaker foot. And you were thinking, okay, Man City up and running. Here they go. But they end up getting 3 penalties, Leicester. Jamie Vardy won a couple of them, scored a couple of them, got his hat-trick. Maddison, what a goal that was from him. And Leicester battered Manchester City. And a lot of people are sitting there now and saying, boy, Pep Guardiola's in a lot of trouble. Pep Guardiola may be out of that door quicker than you think. He's not replacing players. This is the likes of Vincent Kompany. They've never replaced him. How are they going to replace David Silva? It's tough. And he's really struggling. And maybe now you start to see that Mikel Arteta was not the one that was putting the cones up. So yeah, Manchester City got battered by Leicester, and that was the results over the course of the weekend. Madness, absolutely madness, some of them results. Next piece of news, and this kind of came out of the blue yesterday, and over the course of the weekend there were a lot of talks about Houssem Aouar, and that he's agreed personal terms with Arsenal and everything else. And it's just a transfer with Lyon that they're trying to sort out. And the Lyon owner is notoriously difficult to deal with, and he's very stubborn. We see that when we bought Lacazette and everything else. But Lyon were playing yesterday They actually had a 1-1 draw. And first of all, Aouar himself went to do an interview. And he said that he will give an interview, but he will not talk about his future. Lo and behold, they ask him whether he's open to move to Arsenal. And lo and behold, he's answered it. So, yeah, it's quite funny actually that you say one thing and then it is what it is. But he turned around and said there are contacts with the club. I don't know yet. We'll see what happens in the future. So that's very interesting. And Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang has been speaking on French television about this as well, and Aouar in particular. And when I first saw the quotes, there was no video attached or anything. I just saw the quotes on social media. I sat there and I was like, nah, someone's on one of a wind up. Somebody's done the usual trick of changing their name and a profile picture and pretending to be someone and whatever. And no, it's genuine. He has actually said this, and I've seen the video now. But obviously he was being spoken to about Aouar and what he felt about him potentially joining Arsenal. And he turned around and said, of course, we are in favour of signing him. I will not hide it, even if he is at Lyon. Wow, that's pretty open. It's very rare that you see a player talk about another player from another club, and unless, you know, it's definitely happening and the players know, and the likes of Aubameyang knows, which is one of the reasons why he signed his contract, because players like, you know, is what they're looking at. So it's mad when you think about it. That's very, very open. But Aouar himself has said we'll see what happens. Obviously, you're not going to get no much more out of him. He's not going to sit there in an interview and say, yeah, having a chat last week, moving next week or so. Yeah, it's fine, it's all right. Not going to happen, is it? But the Aubameyang admission, that's big, because don't normally see that from a player. So very, very interesting. And we're going to find out one way or another very, very soon with the window shutting. So there we go. That is it for today's DT's Daily. As usual, let me know in the comment section what you think about today's topics. Let me know what you think about the Aubameyang comments. Let me know what you think about the decisions over the course of the weekend, especially that handball against Tottenham. Sorry. And also the Manchester United incident. Should the game have been done and not recalled back? Or, I don't know what the rules are for that. I've never seen it happen in my life, but it is what it is now. Listen, if you're new around here, do make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure tonight you catch me on AFTV for the watch along Liverpool. I will be there back. Yeah, we're going to see what happens with that. Tomorrow, there is the usual DT's Daily. There is a player ratings for the Liverpool game as well. And I will see you lot soon. I'm out of here.